Tonight at 6 on TV2 News, egg prices keep rising and affecting everyone in the community. How small farms in Northeast Ohio are dealing with this.
A Norfolk Southern employee has died from an accident. More details on what happened in Cleveland.
In the South, a Cincinnati Bengal is in the middle of an investigation. Why is he involved and what the police is investigating?
And Hershey has announced some new plant-based options. Find out what sweet treats they are and more as your Tuesday edition of TV2 News starts right now.
This is TV2 News.
Good Tuesday evening in Portage County. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Nuried Hurtado.
And I'm Josh Aponte. We start tonight with some updates on the rising prices in different products, especially eggs. And what are the reasons behind this?
That's right. Our own reporter Gabby Jonas has talked to some farm owners around our area. Gabby, what can you tell us about it?
Yeah, hi guys. So since January, according to the USDA, nearly 58 million birds have died from the avian flu. And I went around today and spoke to local farmers and business owners about how this is affecting them along with inflation. Take a look.
I cried about paying $27 for 15 dozen eggs because I had been paying $21, and then they went to $40, and then they went to $64.
Across the country, local businesses, farmers, and consumers have all been shell-shocked about one item: eggs. General Manager of Brimfield Family Restaurant, Lisa Long, says their business has been suffering by the egg shortage and uptick in prices for several months now, worried and unsure about what may happen next.
We use eggs in everything. It becomes disheartening because everything goes together.
Jim Jacaris, the executive vice president of the Ohio Poultry Association, says one reason behind this ongoing egg problem is due to the avian flu, otherwise known as the bird flu.
This is a catastrophic disease that affects poultry, and it is spread by migratory wild birds.
After losing around 300 birds last year due to ILT, an infection similar to herpes in birds, Tiffany Zareka of Live in the Dream Farm knew she needed to act fast.
I had USDA out and they tested. They said we do not have avian flu.
But after suffering from a tremendous loss, picking herself back up with the rise of inflation has not been easy.
There's just so many things: medicine, vet costs, lack of production, egg cartons, things to wash the eggs with. And that's not even considering my time.
Now, White Leghorn hens and Rhode Island Reds are fed the same amount of feed per day, but it's because of their body mass and the cost it takes to feed these birds as to why we're seeing these different prices in eggs on the shelves.
It was a weird time. I mean, even like the last 8 months, I think, have been quite the roller coaster ride.
As some egg prices have started to drop. Over in Monroe Falls, owner of the corner store market, Nick Bartolone, says their egg prices have been up and down within the market because of the uncertainty of supply and demand.
Every time you call the place to order eggs, you have this anxiety that you may or may not be able to get them. It is very weird when you're paying $1.99 for eggs 6 months ago, and now you're paying $5.
And with Easter coming up.
And if you see them on the shelf, grab them, because who knows if they'll be there tomorrow.
And while bird flu cases continue to rise, intervention against the disease has been mentioned on a national level.
That's right, Gabby. The U.S. is currently considering vaccinating chicken to prevent the spread. The Biden administration says they are monitoring cases of the bird flu as they continue to rise and debating possible countermeasures.
Officials at the Agriculture Department say they have begun testing poultry vaccines and started conversations with various leaders about defending chickens against the bird flu. And the Kent State Women's Center is celebrating International Women's Day. Multiple events have been planned to celebrate tomorrow at the CUE. Some activities include a student-created gallery, a panel discussion, and a service project. The events will take place March 8th from 3 p.m. until 5:30.
Good evening, Portage County. I'm Abby Forbes, your Tuesday weather anchor, and the cold weather looks like it will be sticking around a little bit longer. Let's take a little look at what it's like currently in Kent. Right now it is 36 degrees outside, but there is a little bit of a wind chill, making it feel a little bit more like 27. The humidity out there is in the 40s, so it is feeling a little moist, but let's look a little bit into later tonight and early tomorrow morning. So tonight, right after the show, it will be 33 degrees, but it's going to drop a little bit and it's going to get into 29 and 27 as you round out the morning. Those clouds will be coming in the morning, which will make it feel a little bit colder as we get into tomorrow. But first, looking a little bit more at tonight, it is going to be clear out there in the sky, but there are going to be slight winds, which is going to make it feel a little bit colder. The sun is setting around 6:23 tonight, so you can get ready to watch that right after the newscast. So that's all I have for weather right now, but later tonight I will be going into the weather for the rest of Ohio and into the week. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thank you, Abby. Now moving into more hard news. Since the East Palestine incident, another Norfolk Southern train derailment has occurred in Ohio.
That's right, Nuried. Our correspondent Anthony Leonardi has more details on these incidents and what the government is doing about it. Hi, Anthony. What can you tell us?
Thanks, guys. Norfolk Southern has found themselves in yet another incident just this morning in Cleveland. A Norfolk Southern employee has died after an accident in Cleveland earlier this morning. The accident happened in the 2600 block of West 3rd Street when a dump truck collided with a train car. Louis Schuster was the conductor, and he was struck in the collision on the left side of the train car and was pronounced dead at the scene. More updates will come out as they become available. And Norfolk Southern announced on Monday that it would take necessary steps to improve rail safety. The railroad company said they will undergo a 6-point plan following the East Palestine derailment and other recent incidents. While Norfolk Southern is making a change, the National Transportation Safety Board is also considering important safety measures that could apply to the entire railroad industry, according to Chair Jennifer Homendy. Legislation was introduced on March 1st by Ohio politicians J.D. Vance and Sherrod Brown that would establish new safety requirements for trains that are transporting hazardous materials. Vinyl chloride was one of the hazardous chemicals that was on the train, but it did not meet the federal government's classification as a high-hazard flammable train. So the company did not have to inform state officials about the cars containing the chemical. In response, House representatives from both Pennsylvania and California have also introduced a bill that would broaden the definition of high-hazard flammable train. And President Biden says that he intends to visit East Palestine, but according to administration officials, there is no trip being worked out. Former Democratic Representative Tim Ryan said, quote, "It's imperative that he shows up there and not just shed light on it, but make sure the effort is sustained." And Ohio Governor Mike DeWine has also called on Biden to visit the city. He said, quote, "There's no doubt about it. The president needs to come. The people want to see the president. He should be there." As more continues to unfold in East Palestine, be sure to stay updated on KentWire.com. Reporting from the Franklin Hall studio, I'm Anthony Leonardi, TV2 News.
California is in store for some more Ohio-type weather. Find out how many inches of snow the Golden State is in for.
Newly released January 6 footage might show different point of views on the attack to the Capitol, what the images show and how it might affect the investigation.
Tomorrow's news leaders.
Today's top stories.
From an award-winning student newsroom.
This is TV2 News, truly Portage County.
Welcome back. Cincinnati Bengals running back Joe Mixon's house was searched as a part of a shooting investigation. The Hamilton County Sheriff's Office says a juvenile was shot near his home at 8:30 p.m. 2 houses were taped off as a part of investigation, one of which was Mixon's.
The investigation is still ongoing and no arrests have been made at this time. There is also no information on whether Mixon was involved in the incident or not.
Akron City Council has failed to seat a citizen-led police review board mandated after voters approved Issue 10 in November. 27-year-old black attorney Imokai Okolo, whose confirmation to the board was blocked by 4 members, was the topic of discussion for 2nd week in a row. Members of the public called council members racist for not supporting Okolo, the only black male who fits the 18 to 35 age range recommended by the charter amendment.
Governor Mike DeWine has announced his proposed 2-year budget plan. The plan includes a $2,000 tax deduction for families with children. The proposal would cost the state an estimated $130 million per year. House lawmakers have reviewed the plan since last month and are expected to eventually pass their own version.
Possible changes are coming to Ohio's medical marijuana program. The legislation would make the Ohio Department of Commerce exclusively in charge of the state's cultivators, dispensaries, patients, and processors. Currently, those responsibilities are shared with the Ohio Board of Pharmacy. Different companies in the industry say these changes will likely hurt their businesses. The state is blanketed under snow once again after back-to-back winter storms blasted mountain towns in Southern California. The governor's office said over the weekend that crews have removed more than 7 million cubic yards of snow from state highways in San Bernardino County.
The National Weather Service reports that the Sierra Nevada mountain range could get up to an additional 3 feet of snow. This after some areas have seen more than 30 inches of snowfall in less than 24 hours.
Well, Josh, it seems that they are having a rough week around there with snow, but here we're having some sunshine and some nice weather.
Yeah, that's true. We're going to kick it over to Abby Forbes to see what other weather are we into for the rest of this week. Hi, Abby.
Yeah, hey guys, it looks like we are going to see some of that snow here later into the week. But before I get into that, let's take a little look at what's going on around Ohio right now. So like Nuried said, it is definitely, we're getting that sun still here. And as you can see, we're still in the 30s all around Northeast Ohio, anywhere from 34 in Youngstown and Canton to 35 in Worcester, Manfield, Cleveland, and 36 here in Kent, like I mentioned earlier. So moving into more of the rest of Ohio, as you can see over as we move to the west, it is getting into the 40s, 47 down in Cincinnati, down south, which is really nice, 44 in Athens, 42 in Columbus, 44 in Dayton over there. So moving on to our 7-day, as you can see, the rest of the week, we are going to keep that partly cloudy AM clouds, PM sun on Thursday, and then some rain and snow is going to come in on Friday. So as that rain and snow comes in Friday, it is going to drop over the weekend to 35, and on Saturday the low is going to be 19, so it's definitely going to get cold over the weekend. As we get into the rest of the weekend and into the following week, we are going to see some more snow showers, and that temperature is going to stay in the 30s and 20s as the low. Well, that's all the weather I have for you tonight. I've been Abby Forbes. Have a great evening, Portage County.
We're still working with Mexican officials to learn more and to have all Americans return to the United States. President Biden has been kept updated on this incident. Senior members of the White House have also been engaged. We extend our deepest condolences to their families and friends. For the sake of privacy and out of respect to the families, we are going to refrain from further comment about those circumstances at this time.
Now moving to the south, 2 of the 4 Americans kidnapped and attacked by armed gunmen in Mexico border city on Friday have been found dead. The U.S. citizens were found in a rural area east of Matamoros called Ejido Longoreño, on the way to the Gulf Coast. The 2 surviving Americans have returned to the U.S. for medical treatment at a Texas hospital, and Tamaulipas Governor America Villarreal did not provide further details. And migration policies might face some changes. The administration is considering reinstating the policy of detaining migrant families who cross the border illegally. This is one of several options the Biden administration is weighing as they prepare for the end of Title 42 in May, which allows border agents to immediately turn away certain migrants who cross the southern border illegally.
President Biden will host South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol and his wife at the White House in late April. It will be their second official state visit in Biden's presidency, underscoring close ties between the U.S. and South Korea. This occasion will celebrate the 70th anniversary of the U.S.-South Korea alliance.
To say January 6th was not violent is a lie pure and simple. I don't think I've ever seen a primetime cable news anchor manipulate his viewers the way Mr. Carlson did last night. I don't think I've ever seen an anchor treat the American people and American democracy with such disdain.
Fox News host Tucker Carlson released never-before-seen angles of footage from the January 6th attack on the Capitol. The host described the attack as, quote, mostly peaceful chaos, end quote. Multiple deaths have been tied to the attack, and more than 100 law enforcement officers were injured during the riot.
The Cleveland Cavaliers hosted the Boston Celtics in the Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse. Who won? Find out all that and more on TV2 Sports.
New York, new rules. This new scary film is making its way to theaters over the weekend. How the history of this cult classic has shaped the way the directors created the newest movie, Scream 6.
And now, your TV2 Sports Report.
How's it going, Portage County? I'm Michael Neenan, and I think it's about time we talk about sports. There's a lot to talk about, so I say we dive right in. Of course, starting off this afternoon, the Kent State baseball team defeated Youngstown State by a score of 22-1 to improve to 8-4 on the season. The Flash has reeled off 22 straight runs through the first 6 innings to take a 22-0 lead. The Penguins scored a run at the top of the 7th for their only point of the game before being mercy ruled after 7 innings. A notable performance came from sophomore outfielder Jake Casey, who had 7 RBIs and 2 home runs, along with junior pitcher Aiden Longwell, who threw 9 strikeouts. Kent State's next game is Friday at home at 3 p.m. against Northern Illinois. And the Kent State women's golf team is competing in the Trinity Forest Invitational in Dallas this week. The Flash is currently placed 6th in the tournament, and Meka Hoojboom is tied for 5th overall in the individual standings. Normal Nushila and Jennifer Gu are also currently in the top 10. And moving on, we have the Boston Celtics taking on the Cleveland Cavaliers in the Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse. Starting things off, if Donovan Mitchell, he had 40 points and 11 rebounds, including this pull-up 3 over Jaylen Brown. The masked man who dishes to Malcolm Brogdon, who hits a 3 on the fast break. One of the favorites for 6th Man of the Year, by the way. That's not all we saw of Jaylen Brown, though, as hits a mid-range jumper over Lamar Stevens. Brown had 32, 13, and 9, a near triple-double, and towards the end of the 4th quarter, Donovan Mitchell, he makes a layup through the contact, and on the Celtics' final possession of regulation, Grant Williams, he gets fouled to potentially win the game for the Celtics. I'll make them both, he said. He misses the first one, and to win the game, it rims out. He misses both free throws. We are going to overtime. What happened in overtime, you ask? Well, Donovan Mitchell, he slashes to the rim, and he dunks all over Luke Cornett. And the Celtics would go down 4 here in their final possession. The ball makes its way to Grant Williams. He attempts a 3, and he misses. That would effectively end the game. And the Cavs would go on to win 118-114 over the Celtics. The Cavaliers are now 41-26 and 4th place in the Eastern Conference. And that's all I have for today. Be sure to follow our socials at TV2 KSU Sports for all sports-related updates within the area. I'm Michael Neenan. Let's get back to the news.
Thank you, Michael. New vegan options coming to some of your favorite chocolate treats. The brand's taking part in this change coming up after the break.
Welcome back. For all our vegan people, we have some sweet news for you. Hershey has unveiled 2 new plant-based candy options, vegan Reese's Peanut Butter Cups and a chocolate Hershey bar with almonds and sea salt.
Both products will be made with oats instead of dairy and are designed to taste like chocolate. The Reese's Cups will be available nationally this month. However, you will have to wait until April to try the Hershey bar.
The latest Scream movie is looking to give fans a good scare, but in a different area.
That's right. While it's a new city with new rules, let's take a look at the history of the town of Woodsboro and the popular movie franchise Scream.
Scream 6 finds Ghostface stalking their victims in the Big Apple. The Fright Flick franchise has been scaring moviegoers since 1996.
Hello?
Hello? I don't know if anyone could forget the first time they saw Drew Barrymore on the phone being asked about scary movies, what her favorite scary movies are. And it's just such a visceral, intense, fascinating sequence. One of the best in horror, to be honest.
Many sequels have surpassed their original.
Oh, yeah? Name one.
Scream 2 did a pretty damn good job at bringing back the energy, bringing back the kind of playing with the idea of, oh, see, you've seen sequels, but so you should know what's going on.
You are not dealing with a sequel. You are dealing with the concluding chapter of a trilogy. That's right.
In my opinion, Scream 3 is the weakest, but it ain't bad. There are moments here that work.
There's a killer out there patterning his murders after the original movie.
The series didn't end with the third movie, but 11 years did pass until Scream 4.
Again, not a favorite of mine. I have some issues with it. I think it was the reveal, the killer reveal is a little silly, and there's things I didn't like about it. But again, there's great moments. It's not a bad film.
Would you like to play a game, Tara?
Another 11 years would go by before the franchise reboot, simply named Scream.
I liked it enough to be curious to see where they would go with the follow-up.
Bringing us to 2023 and Scream 6.
Ghostface is an interesting character, simply because Ghostface can be anybody. You know, and they can play with that kind of, it's a popular mask, everyone wears it. And it looks to me like they're going to utilize that quite a bit in Scream 6.
Watching with the lights on in Hollywood, I'm Rick Damagella.
I am really excited about Scream 6, especially because of Jenna.
See, this is going to be a hot take. I don't like scary movies. I know. You're going to be really disappointed. I know. The only scary movie I've seen was A Quiet Place because we watched it in my sign language class. It was really good, though.
Well, I'm not a big fan of scary movies either, but
really?
I'm a big fan of Jenna Ortega, so that's kind of the reason why I want to watch it.
I just remember her from Disney. That's where I know her from.
Well, that's all the time we have for you today. Thank you so much for joining us.
For updates on all these stories and more, visit our website at KentWired.com and follow us on all social media at KentWired. I'm Josh Aponte.
And I've been Nuried. Have a great night, Portage County.